thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Jeff Neipel. I am, as of April 24th, the director of the Davidson Athletic Fund and also an assistant athletic director here at Davidson. This is not a new place to me, though. I've been here for about 12 years on campus and have fallen in love with this campus and Davidson athletics through those years. So I'm just excited to move over and start working with something I'm very passionate about. I want to give you all a quick heads up on how this will work tonight. Coach Gayle is here and she's going to get going in just a minute, but I want to point out one feature that we're going to be using tonight that's a little bit different from perhaps the last time you were on a conversation on Zoom. You should see, you may not, but you should see, if you've updated your Zoom lately, a Q&A feature down at the bottom of the screen. We are going to ask you to submit your questions through the Q&A feature and use that rather than the chat. We'll also monitor the chat as we go, but at any point, if you want to, add your question to the Q&A and we will do our best to get to all of them as we go through the night. So without much more ado, I just want to thank, again, all of you for being here. Davidson's women's basketball team has a very dedicated following. And we're excited to have this kind of midsummer update and find out what the Cats have been doing, what they're about to be doing, and get everybody fired up for the season ahead. So without further ado, starting her 7th year at Davidson, please welcome Coach Gayle to the podium. With you can use your reaction clapping thing if you want to. If you want to welcome her right now, that's certainly appropriate at this time as she gets it going. So Gayle, take it away.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I'm so happy to be with you guys tonight and so thankful, for your interest in our program and for choosing to be, on Zoom at 8 p.m. all about Davidson women's basketball. So, tonight I really want to kind of just talk about, where have we been, where are we going, and just how bright I think our future is, over the next season. But to talk just a little bit to kind of catch everybody up to speed about this past season, it was definitely a season of kind of grit and growth, in which we really had to kind of come together at different times, very unexpectedly. Last season we kind of started out the year believing, hey, we've got a lot of experience. We had 5 seniors, and very quickly as that season went along, some challenges kind of presented themselves in that experience, having injury. Right early on, Peyton Carter started the season not being able to play. Cameron Tabor got injured in our first game. Then you had Adelaide Fuller get injured in our second game. And then just down the line, losing some people, for short stints, and also losing Chloe Welch kind of to a season-ending injury, had us really have to come together and show a lot of growth in ways that maybe were a little unexpected before the season started. But with that, we did. And I think that was the part of the season that really shined through to me is, we had some bumps early in non-conference play, kind of battling through the injury bug and, kind of some different things there. But, we ended up winning 5 of our 6 last non-conference games. And that really kind of positioned ourselves to, I think, have a good, foundation for the A10. And there, we had a little bit more adversity. Unfortunately, COVID still kicked us in the butt a little bit. And we missed a couple games, but we kind of bounced right back and, found a way to win 4 in a row, including upsetting or beating the eventual champions in St. Louis. And so that, to me was a really big game for us in that we really kind of came together and beat a great team. And as the season progressed, you saw players really kind of get into new roles and start to thrive. Thomasina Adenupe, I felt like, had tremendous growth kind of being in and out of the lineup at times with injuries, but towards the end of the year, was someone that come the conference tournament, was incredibly dangerous. Teams were having to defend her all over the floor with the way that she was shooting the 3 and her explosiveness down the hoop. And then you saw someone like Mallory Haynes end up leading the A10 in 3-point percentage this year, really coming into her own. You kind of coupled that with some people that everybody was really kind of aware of before the season. Rosie Deegan was back, after being such a tremendous player early in her career, really kind of started to lead us again, in the sense of, points, rebounds. She was having to play some point guard, really just doing things all over the floor for us and giving us, I think, just a lot of confidence as the only senior that was playing. And Ellie Sutphin, ended up becoming one of the most efficient players, earning second team all conference honors, and really showing, I think, the entire conference and most of the country, what it can look like to be such a skilled player with her size, so kind of between those two, along with Izzy Morgan, another player that, was battling injuries kind of throughout, we had a lot of experience, and then a lot of people step into some great roles. And that gives me a lot of hope as we kind of move into this next season. It's just that youthfulness or kind of that inexperience really blossomed into some gritty veterans by the end of the year. And so kind of taking a look at that, we had a great postseason. We kind of sat back and said, hey, we have been banged up. We've had some injuries. What are some things that we can really do to separate ourselves and kind of change the trajectory, to make sure we can be a little bit more resilient and healthy throughout the year? And one of the things that we really kind of noticed was the nutrition side of things and trying to find new ways to really kind of buy in and double down on providing our young women with the best resources possible. And so we actually started, I think this was a very good kind of reset for us, and something we called Meaningful Mondays, which I thought ended up becoming really good life skills in conjunction with becoming a high-performing athlete here at Davidson, in which we met with our women every Monday morning at 7:15, to sort of eat breakfast and help them start planning their weeks a little bit better. And in that, they were able to kind of start planning their meals and start planning how they could kind of take care of their bodies a little bit better. We were kind of constantly hearing, hey, I don't have time for this, or I don't have time for that. And, that was an area of growth that I felt like was really necessary for our group. And what we found was our postseason was absolutely tremendous. Our girls had the biggest gains that they have ever had in the weight room and out on the court, just as far as, gaining great muscle mass and becoming stronger and more fit. And with that, we had access to a facility for the first real postseason, the second postseason, but the first full year this year, to the new Holland Family Weight Room and Strength and Conditioning Center. That is all just for basketball. So us and the men's basketball program are actually now just sharing that facility. And it is, kind of overseen by Brian Seitz, our head basketball strength coach, in which our women have kind of access to him constantly. And kind of those two things, us really doubling down on nutrition and providing them with more just better options from that side of things, as well as their investment and their time and them prioritizing that, led us to really have, I believe, a great postseason. So I was really proud of that. And now just kind of now moving into the next season, we're starting postseason for the first time in a long time being healthy, and I think that's a great start. And so actually, as of kind of last week, we've had a lot of our women kind of coming back to campus. So right now we have two upperclassmen, and Maddie Plank and Sally Schutz, who are currently living on campus and doing internships. So they're obviously rising seniors, really looking to take that next step. And so Sally is currently doing an internship with Bank of America, in which she is, able to have a 9-to-5. We kind of call it her first real big girl job, where she's got to, get dressed up and do all of those things. But she's down in Charlotte, Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. But you know what? She's up at 6 a.m. lifting and doing, basketball workouts, with her teammates, along with Maddie Plank, who's also doing an internship kind of in conjunction with the environmental science side of things here at Davidson, working kind of with a nonprofit down in Charlotte. So those two are really leading us right now, along with Ellie Sutphin, who is back on campus, and Thomasina Adenupe as kind of our 4 upperclassmen. But we welcomed in kind of 3 newcomers that are on campus right now. They are kind of the 3 freshmen that are here: Chloe Oliver, Sylvie Jackson, and Eliza Bjork, have done a great job. And just to give you a little background on those guys, Chloe Oliver is a point guard who is coming from Canada, in which she is the fastest kid we've ever had in our gym. Just the quickest, the fastest, kid that we've ever had. And, what's really cool about her is that her coach actually was the coach of the 3 men that played for Coach McKillop back in the 2000s that were from Quebec. And so just kind of having that, kind of Davidson basketball pipeline sort of kind of follow from men's to women's basketball, I think is a pretty cool story and something kind of worth monitoring. We're hoping to have a few more of them coming soon too from there. We've been really happy with Chloe and just how much of a leader she is already and just with her demeanor. Sylvie Jackson is a newcomer that we will have as well, coming from kind of the Charlottesville, Virginia area, Louisa High School. And Sylvie is a wiry athlete. A lot of you will probably kind of start to compare her a little bit to Chloe Welch. She was kind of the one that really I compared her to in the recruiting process, just having a lot of athleticism and very dynamic as a long wing. So we're really looking forward to having her. And then Eliza Burek is coming from Portland, Oregon. And so she's really our first West Coast player, since Katie Turner coming from Nevada. And what's really awesome about Eliza is that the program that she played for, and also while winning a state championship in a high school, but the AAU program she played for plays a very similar style of basketball as we do. And so we feel like she's probably one of the most equipped, big players, forwards for us to come in. And she's big. I mean, she's 6'3.5" or so, and got really long arms and should provide us with a great shot blocking presence and hopefully another great rebounder, along with being a capable 3-point shooter. So, we're continuing to really double down just on having versatile players. And we're really excited about those 3. They've been working hard. We've been putting them to work too. So they've been having workouts in the morning, working what I call kind of our wild kitten camp, our 1st through 4th grade camp from 9 to 12. And then working kind of our elite camp series from 2 to 4:30 every afternoon. So we are keeping them busy around here. And, I want to mention we actually had a freshman join us a semester early coming from Australia, in Katie Donovan. And I do believe you all are going to find her to just be, a joy along with our other Australians, and that she just plays really hard. She can kind of do a little bit of everything and has got great size for the guard position. And so Katie got to spend all semester practicing with us, training with us. And now she's, back home, spending time with her family before she comes back. So kind of with that, I really feel as though this program is in the best shape it's been since I've been here, just with us being healthy, us having depth at so many positions, and the work ethic and the investment, these women are really putting in on the day to day. It's fun every single day to coach these guys. They have a lot of joy, and I think you'll see this year, the work that we're putting in now, really coming and showing up, come November. But the one thing just to kind of add that I'm just so excited about is that, thanks to many of you on this call, in addition to many others, we've been able to do a great job fundraising to give us an opportunity to go abroad. So for those of you that, don't know, in women's basketball, you're allowed to take a trip on a foreign tour once every 4 years. And Davidson women's basketball hasn't been in over 20 years. And that's directly related to sort of the fundraising efforts that we needed to be able to do to make this trip possible. And so, we really talked with our team and thought this would be a great opportunity to have our players, that are returning, get a kind of a head start with these newcomers. So we do have those 4 freshmen, and we do have a transfer student that's also going to be joining us. That's kind of in the final stages of her, paperwork to get admitted, that we're very excited about as well. So our returners plus those 5 newcomers getting a head start, and you get 10 practices before you get a chance to go over. So that's going to be an early kind of sneak peek into who we can become this year, while getting everybody kind of onboarded well and have a great team bonding experience, along with getting to see Spain. It's a pretty nice place. We're going to get a chance to spend 3 days in Madrid, 2 days in Valencia, and 3 days in Barcelona, and just seeing the sights, play a couple games, with kind of the hope of this being an experience that's very memorable, for these young women. With us being a 2-semester sport, they don't have the opportunity to study abroad like most Davidson students choose to do. And so this is really an experience that, we're really, I think, excited about. And our girls are like, I haven't seen them this excited about just about anything. So we're really looking forward to it. So kind of with that, I just kind of wanted to open up to some questions, and, allow you all to sort of, get to know anything you want to know about Davidson women's basketball.
That's amazing. Gayle, when does the trip leave? How soon
Yeah.
are you actually heading out?
Yep. So our girls will come back to campus around July 25th, and we'll have about 10 practices before we depart August 9th. And we'll be coming back on August 18th. So it'll give them a little bit more time at home in July. And then we'll get going, and then we'll get back, and the semester will pretty much get started. So it'll be a great kind of segue for them.
That's very cool. It's going to run right into it and give you an awesome kickstart to the whole thing. You talked a little as you were going through the new players.
Yeah.
You mentioned a number of them that seem like they're bringing some height to the team. Yeah. Is there something different you were looking for this year in recruiting, or were you looking for more of the same and just continuing the traditions you've had?
A little bit of both. We obviously graduated Adelaide Fuller, which was a pretty imposing big player for us. And so Eliza kind of being able to come in and have some of the same skill sets. And, I think Adelaide did a tremendous job having a great physical presence. Eliza is probably a little bit faster, a little bit more athletic up and down the floor than Adelaide was. And just probably has a little bit more guard skills, I would say, early on, but probably lacks some of the physicality. And so we're really looking forward to kind of getting her in the weight room and kind of adding into that piece for her. So with her, there was that. Adding Chloe Oliver was a really intentional piece. We felt like we needed to get a really quick, fast, electric guard in the full court to help us get back to playing faster. That's kind of an area of growth we felt like due to our injuries last year, we kind of took a step backwards with, and the pace in which we played. And so we kind of want to get back, and, Chloe's going to bring the same type of speed Katie Turner brought to us in that full court, with probably a little bit more just natural quickness. But we're very excited about, her ability to kind of change those paces for us.
That sounds fun. This actually gets into the first question that was submitted.
Okay.
When you speak to the style of ball that your team plays, what does that mean in comparison to other approaches?
Yeah, so I think many of you have probably, seen our practice gym kind of walk into our games, but, our mantra here is share, shoot, and stifle. And really what that means is when we're going about recruiting and evaluating, we really want players at all 5 positions to be able to really pass the ball, shoot the ball, and also take a lot of pride on the defensive end and play with intensity on that side. And stifling for us is, not allowing teams to do their option A and kind of trying to make them do one more thing, so constantly just being in front of them and not allowing them to get anywhere on the defensive end. But, as you can see, we've allowed, all 5 players at all times that, on offense, our number one rule is, hey, if you're open, you have to shoot the ball. We want teams to have to really guard us. And with that comes, you have to be able to find people that are open, right? So for us, the passing is a huge thing. And so for all positions, those are kind of the expectations when we're going through the recruiting process of who we're really looking for. But to kind of piggyback on that, for us, we do want to play faster. We were one of the fastest teams in the A10 a couple of years ago, and we are definitely looking to kind of get back to that this upcoming season with our personnel this year.
Cool. You and I had a chance to walk around with some Davidson alums who played the game a few years ago, before we had a 3-point line for women, or before the 3-point line was moved back for the women's game. Can you talk about how your team is going to stretch the floor and make everybody guard you further out? Is it just hitting those threes? Is that the key to that part of the game?
Yeah. So, I think if, any of you have watched, some of the NBA recently or WNBA, the spacing is really important. Offensive players are becoming more and more dynamic. Women's basketball is exciting as it's ever been. Stephen Curry, I think, has had a lot to do with that. And, all the shots that he can make and that he willingly takes, you're starting to now see kind of trickle into the women's game. And so having the amount of space that we really would like to have because of our shooting, gives a lot of space for dynamic guards, like Chloe Oliver coming in, or Izzy Morgan or Rosie Deegan, really space to work, and doesn't allow, with that spacing, people to really double team great players like Ellie Sutton, and so, having that that passing and shooting on the perimeter, is really the key to our offensive success. And, I think you'll see this year, it's going to be a very willingly shooting team and a much faster team that hopefully has a lot more possessions per game than we had this past season.
Pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks,
We've got another call or another question coming in, and this is a question about the trip to Spain.
Okay.
And whether or not people will be able to follow along with you all. Is there any plan to blog it or to do anything fun like that to keep everybody up to speed on what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. We plan to do a lot on social media as well as on the website. So whether or not you want to follow along kind of in a blogging way of, reading about different experiences, or you want to follow along like a day in the life, like on an Instagram story, where every day you're just kind of keeping track of all the sights and sounds and different things that we're doing. So there'll be kind of a multiple options, but I think we definitely want to share this experience with you all and all of our supporters. I think it's a once in a lifetime experience for us. And it's something that we hope to be able to kind of do every 4 years. And there's no better way than, sharing that experience with as many people as possible. So we're really looking forward to it.
Fun. Somebody else looking for a shared experience with you all as well. We have a question in the books. Are practices open to fans? What's your policy?
Absolutely. Yes. So yeah, you all are always welcome to come to our practices. Every year we kind of have a designated person to contact. Sometimes that's been Terry Gillian, sometimes my associate head coach, James Jansen, but we've had kind of different ways in which we contact and have that. But, we will make sure that we get that information out to you all about if you would like to attend practice. You are always welcome to come and get a courtside seat. We would love to have you. To me, it's, I know many of you really love the game and also love our girls. And getting a chance to kind of get to see it kind of up close and personal, kind of see the good, the bad, the ugly, hey, what are we planning to do and how are we tweaking it? And, every once in a while we throw the ball like all over the place. So you got to kind of watch your head occasionally, hopefully not too much, but, it's definitely something we really embrace and would love to have more of you come. I know sometimes I see a few of you making your trip over to the men's practice, every once in a while, stick around and see ours. We would love to have you.
Do you allow them to run wind sprints with the team at the end of practice, or is
they have to,
Okay,
it's, no, I'm just kidding. But, we might make you, but we might ask you to rebound if you want to. So it's all up to you, but as involved as you'd like to be, we would welcome that, as long as we talk about it in advance.
Sure. So the next question coming in is kind of looking ahead to next season. And I'm gonna save a second part of this question first, but can you tell us about how you're going to start the season and what the fans have coming to them? Because you've got some exciting games coming up.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be really, exciting news for all of you, but we are going to have way more home games this year than we had last year. So we obviously didn't have very many non-conference home games last year, and then we had 2 home conference games get canceled. And so I feel like you all were starved a little bit to come see us. But we will have several more. We will have an exhibition game. I believe it's going to be November 4th or 5th to kind of get everybody back in the seats for a game and get them practicing, because get practice cheering, get practice getting excited, kind of get a little look at who we are so you know what to cheer for, because we've got a big home game probably coming to us November 11th. We will be hosting Wake Forest. So kind of trying to every single year bring an ACC team to our home court is something that we're really committed to trying to do. And Wake is coming on that Saturday, and we need a packed house. I think last year we had a great showing for our Duke game. We played them pretty competitively for a long stretch there and had a wonderful crowd that was so supportive. And we're really looking forward to having that again for our Wake Forest game this year. And then for those of you that want to travel, we're likely going to be playing at UNC and at Duke that same week. So it's a quick start to our season. We really want to challenge ourselves with 3 teams that play at a high level that all play very different styles. Wake is more of a motion offense team. UNC is as fast as they come, and Duke is a little bit more traditional in how they play. through kind of some sets and different kind of similar actions we'll see throughout conference. So we wanted to challenge this team early. We have so much experience kind of coming back, and from there, it's a lot of regional games that you'll get a chance to kind of see if you would like to travel or at home. Playing also Wofford, High Point, got the schedule right here, App State. We'll probably be going up to Drexel to get back into Philadelphia a little bit for kind of the Northeast crowd. And I guess we also have UNC Charlotte right before Christmas, which is a very big deal for those of you that were at our game this year, where we got to take home the 704 Cup, which was the first trophy game in women's basketball. That trophy is proudly sitting in our locker room. Our girls were like, if we win it, we get to keep it in front of us all day, every day. I said, absolutely, go for it. You guys can look at it every day if you want. Let's just not give it back. So we got to work hard to make sure we get to keep that trophy in our possession for forever, basically. So it's an exciting kind of season we have coming up. And really, I would think, a lot of games you all could get to if you would like to travel. And we'll also have a lot of home games for you guys to get a chance to see up close.
Sounds fun. Thinking about the exciting preseason is obviously to prepare you for the A10 and what's going to come there. Can you give us a preview in a couple of different ways? We've had a question about any new coaches in the A10 and things and how things are changing that way. But also, I guess, just what's your take on who's going to be the people that everybody's going to be will be gunning for at the top of the A10 this year?
Yeah, so there's been a little bit of turnover in our conference this past year, and I hope I don't forget anyone, but Tori Verity, who I think built UMass into a very impressive program over the last few years, did leave and become the head coach at the University of Pittsburgh. And so his associate head coach ended up taking over that program. And so they graduated a lot of talent that had kind of been staples in our conference for a long period of time. So they're going to be in a little bit of a rebuild mode. There's a new coach also at Fordham. So if everybody on here knows, we don't like Fordham. Okay. We don't like Fordham. We got to play them every year. We don't like them. Okay. But they have a new coach this year. After kind of having a series of players that I felt like were there for 17 years. I mean, some of those players were just there forever. They played in like 150 games, and it's like, well, only because of COVID can you do all that. But, they had a chance. They had, I think, a great team this year and ended up falling a little short, but they've graduated. Everyone will kind of be starting, over again. So kind of with those two being kind of the big dogs, I would say, that kind of changed over coaches. I think the A10 is really shaking out to have a lot of change this upcoming season. Rhode Island has done a great job kind of building their team differently. They've really kind of doubled down on the transfer portal, to rebuild their program. They've kind of had a shuffling in and out of players every single year since the new coach has been there, but it's been a system that's worked reasonably well for them. And they should probably be preseason pick number 1, I would say, this year. And then I would say after that, there's a lot to be proven. I think that there were some teams last year that, really stepped up and are returning some key players. And, for us, I think what's really unique is that we're returning pretty much everyone, most of our scoring and rebounding, and we're getting some players back healthy that are really, I think, good pieces along with these newcomers. And so, I think that we will probably be picked somewhere in the top half of our conference this year, kind of in the preseason. And, I believe that we will be really competing to get a top 4 bid in the A10 tournament, which gives you a double bye. And so that is absolutely a goal for us this season, is to find our way into that double bye category, because there's such an advantage in the tournament to only playing 3 games in 3 days versus playing 4 and 4 or 5 and 5. And so for us, I would say that's a really big piece, or a really big goal for us.
It's very cool. You keep talking about returners, and one of the things that even came up when you and I had our first conversation together is this whole concept of the transfer portal. Yeah. And it seems like you're not playing it that way. Can you talk a little bit about how much these players mean to you, who you're recruiting, and kind of what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, for us, I would say that, Davidson is one of the best, undergraduate schools in the country. We're very committed to a 4-year college experience. We graduate more kids in 4 years than probably anybody around the country right now at the Division I level. And because of that, we really feel strongly that that is the best method for us to really compete, is to really recruit intentionally as well as we can out of high school, have a plan and develop them, and have very little turnover. I think if you were to look around the country, we are probably one of the most stable programs out there, in that we haven't had very many people leave our program, and we've been very selective in who we have brought in the transfer portal. And for us, every single transfer we have taken has been someone we did recruit out of high school. So in the kind of the day and age of people popping this new portal, which is just a really kind of free marketplace for you to go wherever you want, a lot of decisions are being made very quickly by players and by coaches. And for us, having those relationships beforehand has been really critical, because we're so careful to protect our culture, and only having women that really fit the entire Davidson College experience and campus and community, on our team and in our program. And so we've like I said, we've added Ellie Sutton, who's been a great fit for us. Millie Pryor, who you guys have not seen yet and will see soon, is another one who's just a tremendous fit and will have a huge impact for us this year. And you saw Maddie Plank transferring from Princeton, just in the Swiss Army knife that she was this year. She played every position. Some games she played point guard, sometimes the wing, sometimes the post. I mean, it was just, she was able to do a little bit of everything, and kind of the same way Sarah Constance did for us, a few years back. And so we've been very intentional with who we kind of get. But we're very committed to the recruiting process. And the other reason for that is, Davidson has some pretty strict rules when it comes to transferring, and that you're only allowed to transfer in 50% of your credits. But for the NCAA, you have to have 60% of your credits transfer in if you're coming after 3 years. And so we're really not allowed to take anybody that has been in college more than 2 years and have them be eligible to play. I know that was a little complicated, but just in general, obviously no grad school, but also they have to be a freshman or sophomore to be able to transfer into Davidson. So we have to be very selective, and the amount of players available to us is much smaller than maybe at some other schools that don't have as strict admissions requirements.
Yeah, absolutely true. I've also heard you talk about Canadian players. I know, yes. Australian players, yeah. Players from the West Coast, players from all over. What are the key things as you're looking at players from all over the world? What are the key things that you think bring them all together, and how much work is it to try to mold players who have come from so many different leagues and styles of play into Davidson Wildcats?
Yeah, so I think the really cool part about Davidson is that we're very much we're a niche school. There's not very many places like Davidson around the country that provide a Division I college basketball experience, at a small liberal arts college, where you're going to be in classes with 15 to 20 people. You're going to be in a community. You're going to have, very regular meetings with a lot of people where they're going to know your name and know your story and know where you want to go. And so the academic side, I think, stands on its own for a lot of young women, just in the experience you can get here that is not available to you in other places around the country. But there's also everyone that plays basketball, that's playing basketball in 2023, knows exactly who Stephen Curry is, and so that itself is just a tremendous piece to our recruiting puzzle, because if you aren't aware about Davidson's academics, or you're not, so, maybe around the world in Australia or in Canada, or we've recruited some in Europe, you know who Stephen Curry is, and the stand-up person that he is. I think he does an amazing job, not only showcasing his basketball ability, but showcasing the type of person he is. And he just so outwardly gives so much credit to Davidson and helping mold him into who he is today. And I think him telling that story is a huge piece to recruiting for all sports here at Davidson, because it speaks to the character and the experience that someone can have here. And for Stephen to go, constantly be circling back to his, his 3 years at Davidson, I think just really speaks very highly about us globally. So with that, how do we go about kind of molding it all together? I think for us, it's so much about, making sure the academics are really aligned and that they're really driven students, because you're not going to survive here if you're not. So you've got to want this academic experience. We tell people there's no shortcuts. You're not going to come here and find some random major and someone's going to do your work for you. This is all going to be you, and you're going to become a better person, and, someone that's ready to lead once you leave here. So there's that piece. So I think the intangibles and the values of really valuing education is a critical piece. And then style of play. We're constantly saying, hey, we'll go anywhere in the world because we think we have such a great institution to recruit to that can pull players from anywhere in the world. And then we're just really on a mission to find people that really fit the way we want to play. So that's why you see kids from Australia, you see kids from Canada, from Portland, from right down the road. We found one right down the road, at Davidson Day, so it doesn't matter where they are. We are just on a mission to relentlessly find people that are great fits for Davidson and for our program. So it does take some molding. You do bring people from different cultures and different backgrounds. And I think, over time, they're very curious about things, with one another. Like, hey, well, how do you guys do things? How does this work? And I think that curiosity, really brings people together and allows them to, get different perspectives that I think they all really value. So with that, I think we try to do a great job of it, but I think the Davidson community, does a tremendous job of providing that experience for them too.
It's a good reminder. Davidson Day is literally the closest high school to Davidson College.
Yes.
And when you have players on the other side of the world from Australia, you're clearly not leaving any stone unturned when it comes to finding players. So it's fun. We do have time for a couple more questions if we have them from the audience. And so I don't want to turn our back on that, but as we're thinking about this coming season, you've talked about the Holland Family Performance Center. You've talked about the need for nutrition and the way that you're doing that. Can you talk a little bit about a week in the life of the players and what they're doing and how they're balancing everything that they do academically with the demands on the court and what you're asking of them as part of the team?
Yeah, so I think, here at Davidson with women's basketball, so for those of you that maybe follow some other sports, I would say women's basketball is very different from an NCAA standpoint in that everyone on our team is either on a full scholarship or they're not on any scholarship. And so our women are, really being invested in heavily from Davidson College. And so, kind of when we look at, what their, day in the life looks like, these women are very much committed to getting the very most out of their basketball experience here. It's a very big driving factor. It was a very competitive thing for them to kind of gain. And so they get here, and a couple things that kind of are in place is that they're going to kind of have an advisor that helps them pick out their classes. So that's not something that the coaches are saying, hey, you're taking this class, or hey, you're taking that class. And that happens at a lot of other institutions. And so for us, those advisors kind of help them figure out their classes, and that all of those classes are sort of going to be, kind of completed between around 8 and 4:20 is kind of the, start and finish. And so that's something that Davidson calls the division of the day. And so the academic day is from 8 to about 4:20, and then all of the extracurriculars happen after that time. And so whether you're, playing sports or you're in clubs or you're in the choir or theater, everyone sort of knows there's this division where, academics kind of come before those other things. And so for our young women, they are, in a space where they're going to class, probably taking 2 classes a day, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then 2 classes a day, Tuesday, Thursday. And those are all picked out kind of on their own with their advisors through the college. And kind of in between those times, there's an ability that if they want to get with our strength and conditioning coach, or they want to get with their position coach, or, anyone affiliated with athletics, they're welcome to sort of schedule meetings with those people or sessions or workouts, in order to sort of, enhance their athletic experience. And so we find that, and then basketball sort of always is kind of taking part after that 4:20 as a team. And so we typically start practice around 4:45, and we'll go until about 7 o'clock or so, where they'll be watching film, they'll be getting on the court, maybe getting some treatment from our athletic trainers. And then they're off to the dining hall like regular students, at 7 o'clock. And so really, their days start with kind of having to manage their time. And we actually have assistant coaches that are kind of matched up with different players that meet with them weekly to sort of help them plan out their weeks and make sure, hey, they're balancing everything okay, and kind of holistically kind of check in on them. But all of those things are kind of being managed by themselves and with the guidance of a coach, just kind of making sure everything is kind of going as it needs to. But it's about 20 hours a week in season that sort of is being asked of them. Not always up to 20, but it's up to 20 where they're, lifting probably 4 or 5 hours a week. They're got basketball practice, 12 to 15 hours a week. And then, there's film and, individual workouts that can kind of get fit in. So that's a lot, when you think about it, also managing a Davidson course load. And so when you see these young women, at practice at 4:30 or 4:45, they may have just finished writing a 25-page paper or had a presentation that day. Very few of them are sitting in a class. Well, none of them are sitting in a class of 400 people at some schools getting to zone out. These are very active days, with their education and with basketball, when you're seeing them come 7 o'clock at game time, or if you guys come to practice at 4:45. So it's a lot, but I think if you'll see they do it with just such grace and joy, it's fun to coach them every single day.
So I'm gonna put my fundraiser hat on for a second and talk about something else that's kind of key to this whole thing. As you describe that entire process, you didn't talk about taking trips for away games and sometimes taking trips to away games in the middle of the week. Talk about the logistics of that and where fundraising dollars can sometimes help.
Yeah. And so, with us, Davidson's, just so committed to the academic side. And that's why a lot of our players choose Davidson, is that they know that they're going to get an unbelievable academic experience here. And a lot of that has to do with being in class. These are very interactive classes. The professors are guiding a lot of discussion. They're learning to find their voices. They're learning a lot of new material and getting exposed to a lot of different things. And so for us, what Jeff was mentioning is that for us, missing class is really, really tough. And Davidson actually has a missed class policy where you're only allowed to miss 3 Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes per semester and 2 Tuesday, Thursday classes per semester. And for most of our A10 conference schedule is usually Wednesday, Saturday, or Thursday, Sunday. And so what that would mean is that, flying to a game for a game on Wednesday, let's say at St. Louis, which is pretty far away across, a time zone, for us to get there for a Wednesday game, we will need to leave Tuesday after practice which is after class, in order to kind of get into town, get there late, and then really be able to fly back on after the game on Wednesday night. So that way they can be in class on Thursday. Where fundraising dollars really come into play for that is, that requires us to take charter flights. And that is something that, across our conference, every team is really doing for those types of situations. Most teams are flying charter, pretty regularly for these games. And that's something that we are really trying to get more towards, is not having to miss any Tuesday or Thursday class for those Wednesday games, or for a Thursday game, not missing any class on Wednesday or on Friday. And so really, when we're kind of looking at, raising dollars, for our operation to try to improve, it's to improve competitively, not having to go through airports and deal with as many delays, but also to make sure these women are in the classes and getting the education that, we really want them to have. And one of the main reasons they chose Davidson. And so for us, that's a big deal. And that's something we're really looking to take a step forward in moving, in the next couple of years.
Yeah. And I think anybody who's been at the mercy of the airlines in the last couple of years realizes the importance of those charter flights too. I heard another coach tell me that they never wanted to lose a game in the airport, basically by having to deal with the long delays and not getting into someplace until 2 a.m. or something crazy like that.
Yeah. We had a flight situation when we were going to St. Bonaventure, and if you've been to Only in New York, you'll know that, going there in January or February, well, first of all, I don't know anybody that wants to go to Only in New York, but if you do have to go and you have to go in January or February, you're probably fighting a snowstorm too. Okay. And so we were on our way to the airport, and our flight got canceled, and so we had to find a way, rebook flights. We ended up having to go through Detroit, And we ended up having like a 3-hour layover in Detroit and got a late flight out. I mean, we ended up getting into Olean at about 2:30 in the morning and had a 12 p.m. game the next day. And all of that really could have been avoided, obviously, if we had had more control over our charter situation. So unfortunately, we lost that game. I was pretty upset, but I'm hoping moving forward, we're not going to, have to deal with that much more. So
there you go, especially against the Bonnies. So very good. Well, are there other things that you're hoping, and I'll say this with a caveat, I'm looking through the crowd on this call. We have some really generous people who've already been wonderful supporters of the program. We want to thank them. Thank all of you for spending the time, but especially also thank the people who've already given generously. I know we have a challenge match that is still out there on the table during the Wildcat Top 21 for the next, I'm looking at my clock and the date here, for the next 8 days. But what are some of the other hopes, ways that you'd hope to grow the program with more fundraising support, Gayle?
I think we really want to continue to take the best possible care of our young women as possible, kind of through the nutrition side, and also providing, access to sports psychology. That has been an area for us that we have seen a lot of growth in, giving our young women access to, specialists and experts, in different fields. And the sports psychology side of things, is a field that continues to expand and really become so critical to these young people's ability to, have resilience in sport. And I think the one thing that I didn't have to go through as a student athlete was, having the issues of social media. If I had a crucial turnover in a game or missed the game-winning shot, it wasn't put on display for the whole world to see over and over and over again, and have commentary over and over and over again, about that decision. And for our young women, that's something they're faced with every day. In some athletic sides of things, there's a lot of sports betting that's going on where people are betting on games and, DMing people or reaching out to people if they, didn't have a good game and somebody lost a lot of money. These are very real things that, our scholar athletes are faced with regularly. And so us having obviously some psychology side of things in-house, but also having access to sports psychology to help people bounce back has been a critical thing for us. And, moving forward, that's a space that we are going to have to pay to be able to maintain. We've been fortunate to have some people that were sort of still in school being able to work and serve in that model. And, they're graduating. So we're going to have to kind of move into paying for that support kind of out of our fundraising dollars. The second major area to really care for them better is, like I talked about the nutrition side. When I said we doubled down on the nutritional side of things, this postseason, these workouts kind of in March and April and May, we spent 3 times the amount of money, on nutritional food for our young women that we had previously been spending, and just providing them with more protein shakes, giving them fresh food versus more processed food, and, really having them, have the fuel necessary to really be a peak performer or a high performer. And to maintain that is something I'm very committed to, but, it does cost quite a bit more money than, just, giving them what we were giving them previously. And so it's an area I feel like we can't compromise on. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't need you all's help. That is something that's ongoing, that is an expense that's always going to be rising, just with the cost of things. And, for us, I feel like it's a bit of a competitive non-negotiable. We can't ask our young women to be doing all these things and it be counterproductive, and it almost be breaking them, not building them up to become stronger. So I would say those are probably the 2 biggest ways in which, I feel like we really need to support our young women as best possible and provide them, the best opportunity to have a successful basketball career, here at Davidson.
Yeah. And I'll just add in, there was a question from the crowd on asking for the biggest need. And really the way that this all comes together is through giving to the DAF fund for women's basketball. From there, the coaching staff and the athletic staff can allocate those dollars to the greatest need as we go through the season, as we go. I'm going to add just one little link in the chat here before we wrap up, which is going to the Davidson Give Campus site for the Wildcat Top 21. There's also a prize that's on the line. whichever team meets their goal the best and has the combination of dollars given and alumni participation has a chance to get a bonus $10,000 from another generous donor who's allowing us to have a fun competition among the teams. So if you're interested, we appreciate it. And you can take a look at that link right there before we log off. Last question, I think we're coming up near the top of the hour, and I just want to thank you all for sticking with us. But I have one last fun question for you, Gayle. I asked this when we were talking before during reunion weekend, how you deal with all the different accents. And there's a side to this. You've got Australian accents on the court. You're about to have a Canadian accent on the court. You have plenty of Americans, some Southern American, different things. But there's a question in here from somebody else who asked if you're going to be recruiting in Spain. And I guess I would add to that, are you ready for another accent on the court if you find a great Spanish player who you want to bring back?
I would love to welcome a Spanish player into our program. They just play such an exciting brand of basketball over there. And, yes, with us competing, it's not a recruiting period. So it's not a time in which we can, just go recruiting. There are some loopholes with that in which we're going to be exploring based on kind of our time over there. When I mean loopholes, not things that are illegal, but just more creative ways, not traditional ways of recruiting that they've recently allowed. But yes, we will have a chance to kind of compete against some teams, and a lot of them will be kind of semi-pro-ish teams where they'll have a combination of professional players and what they call developmental players, where they will not be paid, but they'll be younger recruit age that are very talented. And so our ability to sort of see them up close and have to figure out how to stop a few of them, and guard them and whatnot, will be a great piece to our puzzle for this trip. So.
Sounds like an amazing time. Well, thank you, Gayle, for taking this time tonight. Thank you one last time to everybody who tuned in and stuck with us through this call. This has been a lot of fun and a great time together to get me excited about the season. And what we're looking at November 11th. Is that the game?
November 11th, home opener. So
all right, 11-11.
For sure. And just to say to you all, I'm just so appreciative of all of you being on this call and all of the interest you've showed just in our program over the years. I've seen some very familiar names, familiar faces on this call, and it just means a lot to me, going into year 7, you all really embracing me and the program that we're building here. This really is my dream come true to be the leader of this program. So want to thank you guys so much, and really hope to see you guys more often here over the next couple of months. And please reach out to us if you're from out of town and coming into town. Like, we want to know you're here. Don't just show up at the game and whatnot. Like, let us know you're here. We'd love to come over and speak with you and, share some, insights as to what you're watching or get to know you even better. So please don't be a stranger. We want to get to know you. And I think you're going to find you're going to really want to get to know our team too. They're a great, bunch of young women. So thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. It's always a great day to be a Wildcat. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you. See you guys.